Again, I'm super excited we've been able to land another great speaker that I've been wanting to see and hear at some other conferences, and I've always missed it. I just kind of intrigued by the celebrity chef, how it's come on and how it's just kind of really grown into space and the story. And I'm excited to hear Andre Rush's how he went up through the military and became this famous celebrity chef and just put out a big best-selling book and a little bit about how he got to where he is at. So I want everyone to give a warm welcome to Andre Rush, and then after this, we're going to break and go to lunch. So kind of fitting, we're going to hear from the celebrity chef, and then we're going to go to lunch, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Am I on? I'm on. I had to decompress. Walking up here, I speak a lot of places, first off, and I don't feel empowered often. But I'm gonna be honest with you, when I walked into the room, even yesterday, I just felt powerful. You guys are powerful. I mean, I got 25-inch biceps, but you still are powerful. That's true. So I also want to just say to you guys, I am appreciative of being here. I want to thank you all for being here, and I also want to just take a quick moment, 2 seconds, 3 seconds for Iowa. What happened on the news this morning, nothing bad. That's the world we live in. And I relate that to everything that we do and what you do. People don't know I'm Chef Rush, Andre Rush. I hear Chef Rush a lot, the backstory of who I am, what I do, how I do it. I'm from Columbus, Mississippi. I grew up on a farm. I got up every morning at 3 o'clock before I went to school, and my dad put me to work before I could even walk. Well, actually, I was crawling, but that's what he thought of us. I had 9 siblings, including myself. The next one older was like 15 years older, me and my younger sister, who joined the military. My brother was an officer in the Navy. My other brother, a merchant marine. My other family did other things. I have one brother still in Mississippi now that's farming. So when this came up, I asked no questions. I said, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to thank them for what they do because I know what they do personally. I remember when my dad would have me, and when I was young, I had a younger sister, and everybody else was older, and we would be out there, and he would not only make us do it for hours, but he would make us go to the neighbors and do it for the neighbors or drive somewhere. And even when they had machines, he would make us do it by hand until we got tired. And then the machines come in. I remember him telling me, as I'm going through these long dirt, and he'll say to me, Dre, taste the food. And I'm a kid, and I'm like, it's dirty. And he'll be like, taste the food. My dad was bigger than me. And I was like, yes, sir, and I would taste it. Fast forward a month later, we're in the same spot doing the same thing. And the next thing he's telling me, he would say, Dre, stop eating up all the food. Like, you did this. I tell everyone I'm a vegan. I just need it wrapped in some type of meat. I do love my vegetables, though. We all have our place, It's that quid pro quo, But I want to thank you guys for being here. It means everything to me. Chef Andre Rush, I worked for 4 different presidents. Iraq, Afghanistan. I was blown up in the radius in 9/11 in the Pentagon. I developed PTSD, and this is a product of such. I am that person that everybody stigmatizes, what it looks like, who that person is, what they do. And even when I joined the military, I didn't know my dad gave me the biggest advantage that I would have for the rest of my life. He made me invincible. Getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, walking miles and miles, going through those fields and doing everything else when my other classmates and so forth, they didn't. I had the same shoes on for years. Didn't have a lot, shared everything. And so when I joined the military, which I didn't even tell my dad said why I'd already joined, and he was upset. But I had my brothers in the military, I had my other sisters that were in services. And I just said, Dad, I want to do something on my own. So when I got there, I already had the advantage. In Mississippi, it was black and white. When I got in the military, it was just rainbow. Colors, people, religions, all these things that I didn't know. I was sheltered. I had no idea. All I had was my work ethics and the things that I was taught that were embedded in me. How to work hard, be harder, be smarter, be faster, be all these different things that I thought that everybody was, but wasn't. So when I joined the military and got up, I could run faster, I was stronger, I was more dominant, and everybody noticed. I didn't look like everybody, I didn't talk like everybody, and I had that little, what do you call it, that country twang? It was that country twang that I had. Eventually, when I got to DC, as I was evolving, as we all do, I had to narrate and change it because it was necessary. Not because I wanted to, I needed to. Because now I'm in front of all these people that are at the highest of levels. Being in the military is why I'm wearing what I'm wearing. And by the way, I don't have any PowerPoints for you guys. None at all. I've heard so many people talk on PowerPoint, but here's the deal. When I walked out here, I am the PowerPoint. Look at me. I mean, I am dressed the part, just like you guys. And by the way, I love everybody. I like this natural environment where we can talk and we can communicate. There's no stigma, there's no egos, there's no nothing, there's just family, as it always should be. But I do come out here to represent. Like I said, I'm the PowerPoint. This shirt is from the Army. My Bronze Star is from the Army. My Legion of Merit is from the Army. My arms come from the Marines. My sweats, pants, of course, they're the Navy. My boots, Air Force. They are comfortable. The Air Force know what I'm talking about. And the hardest one of all, Coast Guard, my underwear. Everybody has their role. Everybody has to do what they need to do in this lifestyle. I was thinking about what message I wanted to give to you guys because you're so one and the same. And I thought about this long and hard, and I was talking to some of the guys here, my friends, and I wanted to mimic, because when I look at you, I'm actually looking at a reflection of myself. I'm a little bit tanner, That doesn't matter though, because I just want to say thank you. I know the dedication, I know the hard work, I know the spirit, I know what goes into it. I want to say thank you also to, if there's any wives, spouses, mother-in-laws that's in the audience, or women that's doing the exact same thing. See, my platform is, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, I'm kind of biased for, ladies. I'm a mama's boy. I'm from Mississippi. It's about that. They're the foundation. They push us. Same thing in the military. Every time I go, I have to give it up to the military wives, the spouses. And I tell everybody in my perspective is that if I was trained to do what I'm doing and still have a problem, imagine your spouse and the kids that are not. It's hard. Sometimes we have to get through that and understand. I told you I worked at the White House. Actually, I still go there. Actually, I just saw President Trump 2 weeks ago at the UFC. He was at the Trump, I was at the Trump. Our eyes connected. You know the rest. It's a joke. But it's true. It's true though, it's true. It was purposely connecting. Okay. So I tell people, after working at the White House for 4 administrations, the most valuable thing that I took away from that was Xanax. Took from. I'm joking, guys. You have to laugh about a lot of different things because life is short. And it's 2 things I would tell people that we always gonna have in common. Believe it or not, I'm 285 pounds. I am a rock. Thanks to my dad, I still transform that. And I eat a lot. Food is universal. We have to feed each other. You think about family, relationships, eating in Mississippi at a table, love, nature, holistic, medicine, what it was meant for. Not today where you get all these clicks, and I'm at a 5-star and the service sucks. I'm not that person. I can do that same food, but I want you to feel my passion from it. And I always remember my roots because I always put Mississippi inside of it. And people say, what's that? And I say, that's some yellow grits. You just don't know it yet. Turn it into polenta, and I do my thing, and I'm proud of it. Food is a core, and you guys know that personally, especially when it comes healthy. And that's what we veered away from today. And I know I'm only one person, but I have to drag it back in. And even now being here is a purpose for me. It lets me know everything I need to know and what I need to do after I leave here, because this relationship is not just while I'm on stage. We're married now. I don't care if you like it or not. The next thing is going to be laughter. It's universal. You've never seen a person laugh without smiling. And believe me, when a guy like myself or a big guy or whoever it may be comes out and make you chuckle a little bit, it instantly relaxes you. I said, okay, he's okay, she's okay. I want to tell you a little bit about me, but before I do that, going a little bit more, I want to show you how I got this started. And maybe to explain a little bit more of who I am. But, by the way, before that video starts, I'm a chef. That was not my job. Chefing was a hobby of mine. I loved what I did in the military. I just picked up on cooking because of my mother. Back in Mississippi, My dad said, men don't cook, they work. Girls go to school. I was a young kid, yes, Pops, yes, Dad. But when I was with my mother, she would let me cook with her. And it was the best feeling I ever had in the world. It would just be me and her cooking. And I loved it. I had no idea, but it felt special. Then when I sat down with my family, it was the first time I'm meeting my brothers and sisters. I'm like, hi, I'm Andre. Because we were all in that feeling of just being euphoric with his family, laughing and smiling and doing everything we did. And then once we got up from that table, we fought again. But right at that moment, we were family. And I remember that. And so when that happened, I remember going into the military. I wanted that feeling with my mother. Cooking was a hobby of mine. I loved being in the field. I loved what I did. In Iraq, Afghanistan, I didn't feed anyone. I did front. I did movement. In 9/11, even when I was in that situation, first thing I did was, what can I do to help? Even when I need to help myself. That's what's embedded in us. Installed. It just so happened that I became so good at cooking that it took me over. I didn't know back then that it would be my therapy for coping. I didn't know back then that it would help me not only save myself, but save a million others. I didn't know back then because everybody laughed at me because I was such. Even though I had football scholarships, track scholarships, chance for the Olympics, I turned it all down to go to the service. I remember my dad said, men go to work. Now later on, I got my degrees. PhD, PMP, all these different, culinary, this, that. I got them and never had to walk across the stage, never wanted to, never put up any award, never put up anything. In Mississippi, I got the key to the city. You know what's so important about that? I wrote a book, Call Me Chef, damn it. There was a reason why I say that. You probably see me wearing that shirt, Call Me Chef, damn it. It was my book to say everything that no one wanted to call me because I didn't belong. Chef world is a cruel world. It's open up now, but back then, it was niches. Nobody wanted you in it, and I didn't look the part. I didn't talk the part, I didn't look the part, but I worked harder and better and faster than anyone else, and that was the difference. And they couldn't deny it. Even get my job in the Pentagon, in the White House, probably about a quarter of my career was someone trying to stop me from doing something that I wanted to do. My dad told me that there's two things you need to know in this world. And you need to do, Dre, be the hardest worker, always, and that someone always wants you to fail. And that could be a stranger. I'm not saying it's a person next to you, it's just gonna be someone that's gonna look at you and say, nah. And I didn't understand that back then. And when that happened, it was like, wow, why does he or she not like me? Even when I got to the White House, which I'll tell you how I got to the White House. Before I got there, the person didn't want me to come. And I was the fastest worker, the strongest. I was self-taught on everything. I didn't have any advantages like the other chefs had or other people had. Chefing wasn't my job. It was my passion. Now it's my lifestyle because it can fit into any aspect of any demographics. That's why I look so suave up here with this one, because I want you to say, you're a chef? Damn it, I didn't know that. I thought you just was wearing this. But with that being said, let me show you a short little video. My name is Chef Andre Rush. Every day I do 2,222 push-ups. I don't just do it to maintain these 25-inch guns. I do it to save lives. This is my wild story of how I got to where I am today and why there's no way I can let this mission fail. Growing up in Mississippi, my dad taught me the value of hard work. My mom gave me a love of cooking. You won't believe how these two passions changed my life. I did 2 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, but life after combat was rough. I suffered from PTSD, so I decided to work out every day. It was a release and it helps me stay balanced. But other vets aren't as lucky. I learned that 22 vets commit suicide every single day. It's painful. And that's when I hatched an idea to do 2,222 push-ups every day. It's to bring attention to their plight. 2,222 push-ups for 22 vets. Seemed like a fair trade to me. I'm a strong guy, but I knew doing that many push-ups every day would take the next level of endurance. So I ramped up my workouts even more. Day by day, I worked up to 500 push-ups, then 700, then 1,000 push-ups. Yeah, my arms, my chest, my back screamed with pain every time I was done, but it was worth it. After just 2 months, I reached my goals of 2,222 push-ups. The first time I finished as a complete set, it was an awesome feeling. Now I do 2,222 every morning. It takes me over an hour to complete them all. I think of my fellow vets and the ones who didn't make it every time. This is for them. Not only for them, it's for you as well. It's for each and every person and myself. You see, I did my 2,222 push-ups this morning. I got up at 2 o'clock this morning, and I get up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock every morning. I meditate, I give thanks, and I roll over, and I push. 125 equals 17.76, which everyone knows what that is. Everything has to have a meaning. When I was struggling, and we all do it, sometimes it's a silent struggle. Sometimes it's that struggle that, like us, big guys, which there's so many big guys in here, we say we can handle it. We always say that. But in a lot of cases, that's not the truth. I'll just wear it out. And then you might mention this to someone, and they like, don't worry about it, it'll be okay. I remind people that you can't do this alone. You can be your biggest supporter or your worst enemy. That's the part about this. Every day is a new day. You know what they say, the top of one mountain is the bottom of a next. We keep striving to get bigger, better, faster. We don't do this not only for us, but we also have to think about our significant others, our family, our kids. We got to do everything we need to do to succeed. I look at all of you guys and I think about how I grew up. And I am impressed, and I'll be honest with you, I'm jealous also. Because I get chill bumps even thinking about it, because I have a million memories that's popping through my head. And every time I look, I just kind of giggle to myself. I was in here last night and yesterday and this morning going through. This is what we call family. At the end of this, I'm going to ask you guys to do something with me. So before I tell you what it is, or if you do, or whoever, because I know it's a lot of people in here, it's only one, and I've had probably every senior leader, from presidents to everyone, do it with me. We lead by example. That's what I say. I did my 2,202 push-ups today, and then you know what happened? I went to this damn gym, and I just wanted to go in and say, oh, you know, I thought it was going to be like a little gym, and I was going to walk away. And it wound up being a really good gym, so I did another 2,000 presses or something. It's been a long, hard road being here in front of you guys. In the White House, people always ask me, how did it happen? How did you go from Mississippi to military to White House? By the way, I have a few TV shows, Master Chef, Gordon Ramsay produced my show, my books, I'm a speaker. They're doing a movie on me. That's going to be a TV series. And I have a couple other things that's doing. I'm breathing because it's exhausting. It's exhausting being us, but not as exhausting as just being you, because you have to have time and attention 24/7. It's a passion. It's something that you love. It's something that you have to give away to people. Energy feeds energy, and that's the most important part about it. It can get taxing and relentless, but you're all a family. I said I was going to give you one nugget while I was here, something just off subject, off-putting. The reason why I was here, because I was talking to one of the guys the other night, 9/11 is when I started my PTSD. I didn't know it. The reason why I didn't know it, because I was young. And also, at my age, I was already working at the top level. I still have my clearance. I've had it for a very long time. And when that plane went inside, it changed everyone's life. It made us rethink everything all over the world, changed forever. And then there were a lot of theories of stuff happening and how it happens. That's the power of social media for you. And some people even ask me, Chef, was that a missile? It was not a missile. It was just a plane. It came in very fast, very low, and it was very devastating. I was in the Raiders. A lot happened, and well, it's actually the same next day, I was part of the recovery. If you know what recovery means, on the line. And then media the next day also went on in the paper and did a whole demographics of the Pentagon and showed where every leader, Secretary of the Army, Navy, I was General Sheldon at the time, Chairman Joint Chief of Staff, they were all stacked on top of each other. And so the media actually did a demo graphics of the plane hitting here, but if it had hit here, it would have got everyone at one time. And then from that, they had to move over the entire Pentagon, which is big as hell if you've ever been there. And I was like, media. I lost a couple of my guys from a DOD. That was SWAT. And what happened, they had, after a few days, they said they're going to bring someone in for therapy. And they said, if anybody needs therapy, there wasn't therapists. I'm sorry, they didn't say therapy. They said, if you need to talk to someone, we're bringing people in. Because it was still stigmatized at the time that you don't say this word of who you're bringing in, just to talk to someone. my guys at DOD, who was much older than I was, said, hey, Chef, we're gonna go talk to someone. I think you might need to do the same. And I was like, really? Because I'm having the same issues. They said, yeah. I went to my command, I told them, I said, hey, I think I might need to talk to someone. They looked at me and said, do you like your job? Roger, I walked away as a young kid. I knew what that meant. It was unfortunate because even though I was asking for help, they knew I wouldn't be there. I knew I wouldn't be there. That was the whole part of it. You're a threat, you're a liability. Half the people don't want to tell what they've been through. Why? Because they get shunned on. It hurt me so hard that I had to hide. And I jumped into my cooking, which was a hobby. I jumped into it very hard. And I cooked, and I cooked, and I cooked. A year turned to 2, 2 turned to 5, then 10, then 15, and then finally, I was like a ticking time bomb. Literally. Now imagine me at 300 pounds and someone, because of my rank or because of who I am or because you had some guy who wants to be in charge want to poke the bear. I don't want to be poked. I want to be left alone. Then someone poked me for no reason. And this is reality. I didn't poke back. I fought back in a very high way. Even though I was just a normal person doing things for normal people, I was also enlisted. I was a worker. Everybody knew me. And I fought back. And with that, people disappeared. Not like that. Not even disappear like, let me change, not like in a mafia way. It sounded that way. I should make a movie out of that. But they did disappear. And they were at a very high level. I was telling you about how I got into the Pentagon. Long story was, I was combat arms. I worked, I loved the field, over and over and over again. And I know I contributed to my dad in farming. It was just my happy place. I would be there. I don't care if it was raining like crazy. I don't care. I had the tent. I'd be like, no, I don't need no tent. I'd just get wet and dirty out there with my weapon. We'll go and we'll stay for weeks or months. And it was just my happy place. It reminded me of something that I missed, that I longed. Like I said, I'm jealous. But I also missed the cooking part. And I remember because every time I went cooking, or do that cooking part that I learned on my own, my commander would be like, okay, enough of that cook shit, back to the real Army. And I'll say, Roger, I was a perfect leader and follower, being ambidextrous on both parts of it, because you have to be able to lead to follow. But long story short was, one day the Pentagon called me up. Someone said, hey, Chef, do you want to come over to work in Pentagon at the time? And I was like, Pentagon? Why would I come over? I said, do what? I said, I need to take somebody out or what? They're like, no, we want you to be a chef. I'm like, chef where? In the Pentagon? Why would they have chefs in the Pentagon? 90% of the military don't know anything about DC. So I went over, trained for the, well, not went over, trained. I went over, tried for the job. 4 days I was there. They had 4 other people training for three weeks. I left. I worked my butt off. Other 3 people were there, and I said, no way I got this job. Got a call back. Left, came in, This is where I got joint forces. It was Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. Everybody was there. And this is when I never worked with females either. So it was different. Like I said, I was combat arms. And it was a big wake-up call. And what happened was one of the guys I was training was a military guy who was very respectful, but unfortunately, he didn't like me. He was Army, and I have no idea why. Remember the thing my dad said? He was a pastry chef, and he was amazing. He had made pastries for the Queen, and all. Since then, I have also, but I digress. He had done everything, and I admired him to death. And I found out that he didn't like me from one of the other senior people. What I did was, I worked harder, extremely hard. He didn't know that I knew about it. Long story short was, we had some royalty come in, and I say this anytime I speak, and this is a true story. Food can end wars and start wars. It's true. Have you ever went to a restaurant and had some terrible food, and you're like, get my money back? Or you had the best hospitality, a server, and the food was subpar, and you're like, you know what, it's okay. The service she was amazing. He was amazing. Did this puzzle cake that is crazy. It was like, it took like 3 days to make, and it was like cut at a 90-degree angle, and I fell in love with it, and I learned by seeing him do it. And one day he had done this and won all these awards from it. He got ready to cut this cake over. We were in the Pentagon with the chairman and Joint Chief of Staff, and I remember it like it was everything. Everybody was around. He cut this cake, and the cake for the first time in his whole career, out of 30 years, fell apart. And I just stood there and looked, and the senior guy started cussing. It was, people disappear right away if stuff like that happens. It's a true story. And he looked at me, he was yelling at him, and the guy was in shock. And he looked at me as a kid, and he said, Army Hammer, can you fix this? And he called me Army Hammer. I still had arms back then. And without hesitation, I said, yes, Master Chief. I ran down to the mezzanine. They had some frozen cakes, begged it, came back up, doing all this. This cake is crazy, ridiculous how to make. I never made it before, but I've seen him make it. Great grenache and praline cream, white cream, all these different things, push them together, going in and out, put the cake together, put it into a blast freezer. Came out literally right before, cut it, and he said, perfect. Master Chief looked at him, and he said, he just saved your job. Head down, him, grown man, and he came up to me and he said, after it was done, nice job, chef. And he said, I want to take you somewhere. And I was like, oh, okay. He said, be ready, here's the time, so forth, so on. And me, I was oblivious to nature. I was a grunt. I was that guy. Took me to, 1600s, whatever it was, and I'm just with them like, I don't know 1600, whatever it is. It was the White House. And I was like, okay, what are we doing here? He was like, I'll get you to the door, but you gotta do everything else. Got me to the door. I went in, and I also remember what my dad said. This is a true story. I went in, and I didn't look left or right. I didn't admire anything. I said, what do I need to do? And I did it. Irony of that was, right after that, 2 weeks later, they let him go. And the first thing I said to him was, do you need me to go? I can leave also. And he was like, no, chef, you stay there. That's where you belong. Loyalty. He didn't know that I knew, but he brought me there. It was about respect. Right after that, he took me to my first Olympics in Luxembourg in Germany. I won 2 golds and bronze, 2 golds and a silver at the highest level, competing against the whole entire world. It was there he told me what he did, that he didn't want me there. And I told him I knew. And he said, why did you work so hard if you knew this? And I said, Chef, we're a team. I don't need accolades. I don't need this. I don't need that. To this day, we're the best of friends. He's been a mentor. And I always wanted him to be here where I am because he did so much. And one thing he said was, I can never do what you do. You have a gift. Crossing those dimensions, spectrums, where you can bring everyone together. And that's the end result. How we were raised and what we do, the hard work that we put in, the same thing that we get back out of it. We don't look at things one-sided. We don't look at things as it's all about me. It's all about us, the future growth, and how we're going to do it. So I have, before my alarm goes off, I'm asked two different things. First one is Q&A. Any questions, please ask. I'm open up for some things I don't talk about normally, but if you have the question, 100% want to ask. Next thing is that I told you there's one thing I want to ask you. It's only one. I do push-ups. I am sore. I've done like 3,000 plus today. But normally, I've had everyone come out, or whoever comes and do one push-up with me, and we just do it together. So, Q&A, anybody got any questions? Yes, yes. Ooh, she said, what's my favorite president to work for? I get that all the time, and what demographics? As far as food, person, who, what? All the above. Actually, have you seen me? I don't have a problem with any presidents, but my favorite ones were, cooking-wise, will be Bush and Obama's, because he's a Texas boy, and he loved different things. But the Obamas, she started a garden and wanted everything from the garden. I love the garden. Like I said, that was my heritage. That was my whole part. So when we started a garden there, it was like, oh man, I could do anything with food. And then, of course, like I said, wrap it up with meat, I'm good to go. but personality-wise, Bush was great. Obama was great. And actually, Trump was great with me. And that's why, like I said, I just saw him. But each one comes in. I don't know if you know this, but the president pays for their own food as well. Right? They don't pay. They have to pay for the actual food unless it's a government-sanctioned event. And also, when everyone comes in, that day, within that 8 hours, every remnant of the past POTUS has to be wiped clean. Everything. No voices, no words, no anything. Don't talk about it. Don't say anything about it. Don't go. And then also, energy changes. So each one comes in with a different energy and how they want to run the White House. If they want to focus more on them or relationships with the staff or people, but you also got to remember that regardless of what they're doing or how they're doing it, it's a very taxing and stressful job. And so I've seen a few things. It's different. Any other questions? Yes. I'm sorry? Is my life in danger? I'm sorry? He asks, is my life in danger? Hell no. I'm locked and loaded, baby. I'm an American. That's like a dream come true. But unfortunately, you're right about that. It has been some other chefs that, unfortunately, 2 chefs drowned. One recently was Tafari, who was actually a friend of mine. He worked for Obama, and he drowned in a boating accident. Actually, it was a kayaking type of accident. And it was a lot of conspiracy theories behind that. I remember this because I actually was on social media, which I have a big presence. I had to throw myself in the middle of that and take a lot of bullets because I knew his family, I knew his kids. They were young, they're on social media. Kids reached out to me and said, "Thank you, Chef, for taking up for our dad," which is not his fault. What happened, but it was another conspiracy theory that's laid to rest. It was an accident. Unfortunately, I don't know why, and no one knows why. He was learning how to do that, and it was a very calm day. But if you're a swimmer, like I am, it only takes a second for you to lose your equilibrium, and then that muscle memory goes away, or cramps, or whatever, and unfortunately, that's what happened. Yes, sir. Ooh, Mississippi meal. Actually, I just did a podcast where I did a cooking part on it, and it was smothered cornbreads and collard greens, and smothered chicken with onions, and a dark gravy, and smashed yams, smashed potatoes. So yeah, I like it. I like it dirty. I like it dirty. You can tell by my fat self. Anything else? Yes, sir. What? My dish? Ask another question. No, I have not had anyone. I kind of downplay it, but I'm actually an amazing chef. Just because I can snap your neck in a second doesn't mean I can't cook you a gourmet meal. But I actually, like I said, I love cooking so much that I love mixing fusions. Like I said, I put my whole flavor profiles into it, and I find out what people like. But the one thing I do is I find out what you don't like. Literally, I find out what you don't like. If it's not a dietary or restriction or medical or whatever, and then I feed it to you without you knowing, and you love it. And after you eat it, I tell you. It's a true story. You heard about bush in the broccoli, of course, right? If you don't know it's broccoli, how can you not like it? Yes, sir. Ooh, how long have I been doing push-ups? I have been doing them for the last, what year is it now, 24? I started at 18. It has to be. Like I said earlier, every day is the first day. If you become complacent, if you lose your drive or your passion, or if you say, "I've done it enough," you're done. You never stop. You are my passion. People are my passion. They feed me. They don't come up, and I'm a celebrity, but when people come up to me and take pictures or ask me, the thing about it is that they say, "Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. I love your videos. They're funny, but I love your passion." I'm a spokesperson for USAA, for suicide awareness, for the Cancer Society, for cybersecurity, so many different things, but I strategize on each and everything that I do. And that's what keeps me going. Every place I go to is something different and something new. So every person I get in front of, even with my TV shows, I'd never done a TV show in my life. When Gordon Ramsay came to me and he was like, "Hey, big guy, I want you to compete." I was like, "Chef, I don't compete." The only person I competed against was myself. I'm a host or I'm nothing. He said, "You're right. Here's your show." Same thing with Disney. Same thing. It's like, I know my worth and my value. I can elevate easily. We all have to know our worth and our value. And we all have things that happen in our lives at the worst impossible time that could happen. And I will tell you this one last thing. Six months ago, you can be on top of the world. Something's going to happen. It's always happening. It always does. Something that you least expect, that you can never expect, that's not understood. You don't know why. And it's right at the peak of everything that you're doing. I am a winner. I am on top of the world. You know, I told you earlier that I don't have any of my medals put up. I don't have my keys and all those other things put in perspective. A long story short with this is that I'm on my way to see Ramsey at New York. I'm leaving LAX at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I get a call. I have daughter, 11. She has a brother, 5 and 6, from her stepdad. And her mom and I are great friends. Her mom is military, retiring as a sergeant major. Her husband, they're actually divorced. They were separated for a year. And he was military, got out. They co-parented together. He loved the boys, loved my daughter, great guy. 3 o'clock in the morning, get a call, and she tells me this story. She went to work, it's in South Carolina, and she says to me in a very distraught voice, telling me this story, and she says she missed the sergeant major, the command sergeant major, so that night, a few hours earlier, he asked if he could stop by to bring her paperwork for CRC. CRC paperwork for her retiring, she needs it. They have video cameras in their house and whatnot, which even her ex-husband, which is her friend, he has all the videos too. He sees everything that goes on because he sees the kids. And the guy stopped by that night and said, "Hey, can I bring it to you?" He's like, "Yeah." He had two dogs in the car. Asked if they can come out to the back of the yard. Come to the back of the yard. They're out there talking about the paperwork. She has it in her hand. They're turned around, come through the screen door, and her ex-husband comes inside. He walks to the back. They're at the back of the house. This is a friend of hers. They've been together a long time. He walks, before they can turn around, he shoots the command sergeant major 7 times, right there. She turns around and he runs upstairs. She's in shock. He runs upstairs to the boys' room. He points the gun at her and says, "No." She runs back down, heart beating. It's a small town, so cops are on the way to check on the sergeant major. He's barely alive. He's already gone. So she runs back upstairs because she's looking for a phone. She's asking for a phone. She didn't know they're already on the way. When she gets to the top of the stairs, she runs into her ex-husband. He looks at her and he shoots himself in the head. She steps over him and she's like, "Okay, he loves the kids. They're fine." Goes into the boys' room. The 5-year-old, he's shot in the back of the head. The 6-year-old woke up and he held him and he shot him in the back of the head. My daughter, 11, was in her room. She woke up. He shot her in the back of the head. I am talking to her and I'm lost. I'm gone. I am not present. I am extinct. So I had to process this because I started this years ago. And there was a reason why I started this. Because of my soldier, because of me fighting for him. The same person I said earlier that poked me was the same person that poked him. He was a young guy. He didn't make it. And so when I told you I fought back, I got him, who is a general, relieved of duty. With my daughter gone, Now it became national news because of me. And I didn't know what to do. Like I said to you, we have things that we don't know at the situation and time, unfortunately. But what I did do, after thinking and knowing my daughter, her brothers, I jumped on social media. Not to talk about it, because I didn't. When I did talk about it, it was at the White House, Chamber of Congress. It was at National Press Club. The reason why is because I have that voice. I have that part to bring awareness. I have that passion, that goal, what keeps me going. I got on social media and I said, I want more kids. I want kids to follow me. I was always a presence on social media, but I only had a few social media platforms, and it was only 300,000 or 400,000. So I strategized and I found out, if I'm gonna do this, I need to find out algorithms, why, how. I hated social media. I hate social media, but it's a necessary hate, but also a love and a passion. And then what I did was I strategized, and for the next couple of weeks, I jumped on all my platforms, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, all these things I knew nothing about. YouTube was at 20,000, then it went to 4.5 million. Instagram, 300, 1.7, 1.8 now. Facebook, 0 to 1.5. Everything just exploded. The greatest thing about that was when it did, my demographics, 60% were kids, the youngest generation from that age to 27. So now everywhere I go, airports, this place, that place, Montana, in the middle of nowhere, I get little kids coming up to me, hugging me, asking for pictures. And I said, that's my daughter, our brothers. There's no way in the world that I should have had that much over my whole entire platform. That was all about him. He said, I put you here for a reason, because this is the reason that you need to be doing this. Not only for you, but for everybody else, the same way that you're doing your job and how hard it is. And sometimes you want to give up. You have to be reminded that it's not always about you. It's about what you do, how you do it, and when you do it. It may be hard, but you're harder. I'm fortunate to be here, and that's why I wanted to come. Before I even knew anything else about you guys, I said yes. When they said farmers, you had me at hello. People say, how can you keep doing what you're doing after that happened, which is only 6 months ago or so. And I remember it every day. I have to. Because like I said, when you forget, you become complacent. And that's the one thing you don't do. I know I'm over my time, and I talk you to death. Like I said, anybody up for a push-up? Yeah? If you're up, come on up. You don't need a ticket. It's a gun show. You know what? We can, I think we'll have a few people. Come on up. Let's make it happy. I'll come down with you guys. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. Am I on? This is what I'm talking about. Now, this is real chill bumps. You just made my 25s turn to 26. So the way we're going to do this is we're all going to get down and we're going to do one push-up. You're going to follow me. We're going to get in a line, or whoever's in front of you, just look at them going down and up, and we're going to go down and up. Just one. Literally just one. All right, so make it where everybody can spread out this way. I'll be right here. Look at it. The person in front of you, keeping up, going down and up, one push-up. Now, when I do this one push-up, I always ask the question, so many guys, now you guys showed out on me today. You know what, I'm serious. I am overly appreciative of this. Because I have some people that just, it's not about egos, it's not about arrogance, it's not about failing. It's about succeeding, because I tell people, if you wake up, you won. It doesn't matter. Think about it like that. That's perspective. That's life. So together, normally I'll say, hey, what is the person doing? What's your cause? What's your reason? So what is our reason today? Like mine, I always say mental health. I say this, I say that. You know what? Farmers, for us, family, gratitude, everything. So, easy, everybody can see, one push-up. All right, I'm going to start position. Look at me as I go up and as I go down. It's just one, and my arms and chest are killing me. So thank you. You ready for it? Yeah. Here we go. Look at me. Look at me. I said, look at me. Here we go. There we go. There we go. We going. Stop for a second, because there's something I want to say. Everybody think that 2,222 is hard. It's actually that first step. It's that first one, that first breath. Everything starts with one. Let's go. Stop. Now you got to think a little bit more. It's like, because we always have obstacles. It's about obstacles in life. We have them every day. You know what I mean? Let's go down. Stop. Now, at this point in time, that's when you say, this is the hardest thing I've ever done, right? Look at me. Get off the ground. I'll turn my drill sergeant on you. Here we go. Let's go down more. Stop. Now, that's that part where you're right at the threshold. That's right at that threshold. It's not about egos. It's not about that. And if you're shaking, it's good. It just means it's cold outside. Here we go. Let's go down more. Stop. There we go. Off the ground, 1 inch down. There you go. Here we go. Now we're going to think about it. But at the same time, are you ready to go up? Okay, here we go. Follow me. Stop. There we go. Everything is about us together. We do it together. We end together, no matter who you are, where you are, and what you're doing. Let's go back down. All right? On three, we're going together. On three. Go down. Keep on down. Come all the way down. 1, 2, 3. Ah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great job. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. It was easy. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
you.
Didn't do 10. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, brother. Thank you. Thank
for
you.
your service.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. So, to close it out, that right there, was amazing. It's powerful, impactful. Sorry, I'll buy you another one. I'm joking. That was the best one I've ever had. And I'm saying that. Even better than presidents, dignitaries, leaders, the very best one. It made me hyper, excited. I still have chill bumps. Thank you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you and all that you do. I was here to empower you, but you empowered me. And I want to say thank you for that. I am Chef Andre Rush. Everybody knows me as a White House chef with the 25-inch biceps that does 2,222 push-ups a day because of you. Thank you all.